Everybody has off days, right? Of course they do. You've all experienced it. So have I. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about mine, and I'm going to show you how I track those and plan for them ahead of time and try to mitigate or head off or deal with it with essences. So, my dad, when I was little, used to chart biorhythms for people. So, biorhythms are these three cyclical waves that oscillate throughout your life. They start at birth, and each one has a different length of a cycle. But it's your physical, your emotional, your mental, and some people think there's an intuitive curve as well. And the intuitive goes 38 days, intellectual is 33 days, emotional cycles every 28 days, and the physical is 33. So you have your ups and downs, and I'll show you the chart in just a minute. That's why I'm doing videos, so I can actually show you what mine looks like and what I'm looking for and what I'm okay with, that everybody else is like, oh, and it's not really that big of a deal. A lot of it is just basic self-care, and you can override all of that stuff. But I don't necessarily schedule anything really high stakes on my critical days. And I'll explain, because I did that just the other day. I haven't really monitored my biorhythm a lot. I don't like something telling me what kind of day I'm going to have. And frankly, a lot of the time it looks worse than it actually is. So I might mostly just look if I'm having a bad day and I want to see why that is, then I'll check it and go, oh, okay. So yeah, it's nothing I did or didn't do or anything that I did wrong. I'm just not all there today. So anyway, how this came up recently, I was flying a plane and not doing very well at it. It's just the whole flight, things were not going smoothly, not going my way. And I had one mishap that could have been very, very bad. Wasn't, thankfully, but it woke me up, and I'm like trying to figure out what happened, because if you're a pilot, you have the whole I'm safe checklist. You're making sure everything is good to go before you leave. Are you on any medication? Did you sleep? Did you eat? Is anything going wrong? Are you stressed out? You go through all of that stuff, and try to find a reason why you shouldn't be flying that day. And I was fine. So why was I screwing up so badly for like an hour and a half of screwed up? Like, oh my goodness. So I get down, get the thing on the ground, and then I go and check my biorhythm, and I was having a critical day. And so I wondered if anybody else in aviation was tracking this. So I Googled, and there have been all kinds of studies on accidents in general, but also aviation accidents. And one that I really found interesting was somebody did their thesis on it, and it was really great because they unpacked the whole biorhythm concept better than I had ever read before. So I had a better understanding after that. But they went through the Hellenic Air Force accidents from, I forget what the years are, and I can link this. But quite a range of years. They studied all of the fatal accidents. They took out anything that was malfunction, not the pilot error at all, nothing they could have done about it. Disregarded those, and all of the ones that were pilot error, they looked at and charted the person's biorhythm and saw where they were that day. And then they came up with, okay, it was this percentage of critical days that were fatal accidents. They also pulled in all of the data from other studies that had been done on this and, gave a review of that. And what really helped me out personally was they showed the charts for all of these pilots, and they put, what day the accident happened on the chart, so I could start to see some pattern recognition. And there were a lot of them that were actually the day before the critical day. So that's on my radar too now. I'm going to watch out the day before, not just on the day. So anyway, I'm going to share my screen and let you guys see what I'm talking about. Okay, there we go. So here's mine. This darker line today is it's saying quite bad. This is today, and you'll see that all of my curves are kind of down in the low numbers. Two of them are actually bottomed out, and that one is not great either. So I should be having a pretty rough day, but I'm not. I'm fine. I am not doing anything that I'm really pushing myself on, or, I'm not doing new things. But even if I were, I'd probably be okay, because when you go into negative numbers like this, you have a lot of time to get your bearings and learn how to compensate. And, you just won't be the top of your game, but you'll be fine. It is not the catastrophe everybody thinks. The problem is where this line intersects that median. This is a 0 day. You're not positive and you're not in the negative. You're just unstable. And that's what the critical day is. So it's only for 24 hours. You can suck it up and get through it. And sometimes I have critical days that aren't even blips on my radar. My emotional critical days seem to be fine. What really I have trouble with is the intuitive critical, which that's the blue line. So right here on October 3rd, I have a double critical. I don't know how that's going to go for me. So yeah, not looking great there. And that's my intuitive, the blue line. For whatever reason, if that is on a critical day, I suffer immensely. I don't know if, yeah, I don't get it. I apparently feel my way through life more than I give that credit for. So that was the day that I had problems with the plane, was an intuitive critical. So I went back through my logbook and I charted every flight to see where I was, how many critical days that was. And one of them, it was back in April and I didn't remember that. So apparently that was uneventful. And the other three that I did remember, I remember those being pretty tough days. So I'm not looking forward to October 3rd, but I also want to find out what happens. So maybe I'll do an update then if it's noteworthy or anything like that. But yeah, anyway, what you can do, let me go back over here so you don't have to look at me anymore. Well, I'll probably switch back and forth. Anyway, these physical, emotional, and intellectual are, biorhythms are controversial anyway. Two doctors, one in Sweden, one in Vienna, came up with this kind of around the same time, and then they sort of coalesced into what we have today as the biorhythm. The intuition one, that's more controversial yet. I don't know who came up with that, how they did it, what the research is on it, but I don't know. I pay attention to that one more than the other ones, I think. My physical one seems to be a day off. Like I'll have an issue the day before instead of on the day. So that might mitigate my October 3rd. And then I've got this coming up on October 1st. That's my emotional one. I don't really notice anything with the emotional, and that might be just years of flower essences and, nothing's going to get me. So let's talk about flower essences with this. Now, if you're on an emotional one, critical, or even in the negative numbers, it's just going to be, there's no one particular essence. Maybe crisis care is a good one to have on hand for the critical day. But for the rest of it, what it's going to look like for you is more of an amplification of what you're already feeling. So if you're already on the verge of something, you're going to have to step it up a little bit with essences, possibly prayer, anything you need that just really helps you stay balanced and on an even keel. For the intellectual critical days, I would recommend focus. And for physical, flower essences don't do that much physically. The main thing that you want to make sure doesn't happen on a physical critical day is an accident or catching a virus. So habanero is one that we use for accident prone people, and that might just, on an intellectual level too, it might wake you up a little bit and keep you in the here and now and keep you careful. Because that's the main thing. We just want to make sure we're a little more careful on the critical days. We're taking a little bit better care of ourselves. And that would go for negative numbers too if negative numbers bother you. I don't really find a whole lot of difference with those. I might be a little more tired on a physical low day, but I seem to function just fine, and you probably will too. Anyway, if you have any questions, let me know in an email. See you guys.